Hello, Lily Quinn here. Welcome once again to our tutorial on freehand sewing terminologies. Okay, so previously we have done the across shoulder, we've done the underarm line, the full bust line, the waistline, and our next one to tackle will be the hip line. Just like the bust, the hip line also has different levels. Some people call the high hip, the full hip, and the lower hip because we are all shaped differently. Some people have their hip a little higher, others have it a little lower. So you need to know how to deal with all these differences when you're making your measurements. But for the hip line, we're looking at the full hip line, the widest one. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so here we go with what we've been developing so far. And so far we're dealing with only horizontal names, okay, horizontals. They are all important. The next one to draw is our hip line. Okay, this is another horizontal balance line, and it's also 2 inches according to my mannequin. It's 2 inches away from the waist. The waist is here. I'm looking at something like this. Okay, so this is the hip line. Okay, now the hip line is also significant in the sense that when you are dealing with when you're dealing with a garment, depending on what you're working on, of course we are focusing on the top, but if you're making a dress, you're making a pair of pants, then the hip comes into play. If you're making a top, that's it. You don't have to worry about going below the hip line, but as a top, you know, this is where you want to make sure this is significant. Why? Because there are different lengths of blouses. Some people like their blouses to cover their hip. Others also want their blouses, depending on the style, it could just sit right above, below the belly button, you know. So depending on where you want to locate the end of the blouse, you need to know the hip line and its position as well. The hip line circumference, it tends to be mostly or generally the widest part on the torso. I'll say that again. In most cases, not all cases, you know, if you're making a garment for pretty shapely person, the hip tends to be the widest part of the whole torso. So you want to give room to that when it comes to measuring. And you should know I have the measurement process also in a video down in the description box. So you can refer to that to see how the hip line is positioned, okay? And all of these are symmetrical. When it comes to the actual body, they are symmetrical as well. It's amazing how we are created, but you can use the symmetry on the body to literally make anything using freehand sewing. Okay, so that is for the hip line, and I believe the next one would be we'll worry about this in our next video, okay? But I also want to remind you that we're starting classes, online classes. All the classes are online. Many times people worry about whether they're going to really get the concepts online when we teach. It's like having the teacher in your home. Okay, there is absolutely no I wanted to talk about hands-on versus online. I know most of my students have been spoiled with hands-on, but online classes are also very amazing. You can absolutely learn. All you need is your stand. Let me see if I can show you one of these. This I bought from Best Buy. I bought this from Best Buy, and you just stand it up, and your phone, okay, you hook your phone to it, and it can literally see whatever you are trying to learn, and you can see what the teacher is also teaching. Okay, so don't be scared of online lessons. We're going to start next week, and classes are 5 classes. And we're going to be doing 2 lessons a week. Each lesson is 2 hours. Total classes are 10 hours, but we spread the 10 hours into sessions within a month. Okay, I'll explain all of that in the description box. So if you have any questions, you can ask in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.